Mm-hmm. All right.
Prayers for our country.
Yep. All right, if we don't have any others, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning, Lord, for allowing us to be in your house, and we pray, God, that there'll be something said or done today that'll help us in our walk with you to be drawn closer to you, Lord. And we thank you for the many people that you've put in our lives. We thank you for the blessings that you've given us. We're just thankful and we're grateful, Lord, for everything that you do for us. God, we've got some special requests. We ask that you touch Marie and our country, Lord, that people would turn back to you, Lord. And God, we just ask you to touch our children, bless them, fill our churches with your children, Lord, and let there be a light that'll lead them to you. In your holy sweet name, amen. Okay, so last week we talked about birds, and this week we're going to talk about donkeys in the Bible. Our central truth is God is sovereign over his entire creation. And whenever we talk about it being sovereign, he created everything, even the wildest thing, the donkeys, and whenever I was doing some reading and looking about the donkeys, they're very intelligent creatures. They're very smart. In fact, it made me want a donkey. That might be on my want list eventually, is to have a donkey. They have an incredible sense of smell. Whenever they do I think they call it braying. They can be heard up to about 2 miles away. If you have other animals, they are defensive. They take care of and try to keep the dangers away from those other animals. I also check to see, do they kick? Because, you hear of animals kicking, horses kicking. Well, the donkeys do too. But typically they kick because there is an intentional, they're trying to get those wild animals or those other animals away. But they're very, very smart, so I like that. And the donkeys are actually used a lot in the Bible, and we'll be looking at that today. There's other things here, some of the trivia that was in our actual lessons. Donkeys have been used as beasts of burden since 4000 BC. Is that a true statement? In the Bible they put them and burdened them down. The smallest animal, the smallest breed of donkey stands about 2 feet tall. Is that true or false? Have you ever seen a little small donkey? I have. They're so cute. They're like, I can't imagine they do any work, but they would be perfect little donkey pets. There's 186 different breeds recognized today. Donkeys are faster than horses. Is that true or false? False. But they're more sure-footed. So if you had to take one up in the mountains, rather than taking a horse, take a donkey. He apparently can keep his balance and is more sure-footed than the horse would be. Donkeys are not intelligent. I actually have already said they are very intelligent creatures. And a 2013 study shows that donkeys can learn and problem solve as quickly as a dog or a dolphin. Throughout history, donkeys have appeared in many stories, often provided comic relief. We think about Shakespeare's plays, and we think about Eeyore's pessimisms and the goofball antics of Shrek. If you've ever watched the Shrek movie, and the donkey that's there is his sidekick. With all that in mind, we might be surprised at how often these creatures do play an important role in the Bible. And I can think of one, when Jesus was coming in on Passover Sunday, he rode on the back of a donkey. As we mentioned in last Sunday's lesson, Paul told the Romans that people can clearly see God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature through everything he's made. The humble animals are mentioned 137 times in the Bible, talking about the donkeys. They're in the Old Testament, that's the 137 times, and it's 10 times in the New Testament. Most of the time, they appear in lists of possessions, but there are a few times when donkeys take a more central role. First part of our lesson today comes from Numbers 22, 15 through 13. And it says, Balak sent yet again princes more and more honorable than they, and they came to Balaam and said to him, Thus saith Balaam the son of Zephyr, Let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me, for I will promote thee unto a very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou askest me. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse in this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, If Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God, to do less or more. Now therefore I pray you, tarry ye also there this night, that I may know him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and the two servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel and the Lord standing in the way. And the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on the side, and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself into the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in the narrow place. There was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with the staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in thy hand, for now I would kill thee. So he couldn't see the angel of the Lord, but the Lord let the ass see it as a protection for him. Our lesson says Numbers 22 records how the Israelites moved closer to the promised land, entering Moab and camping east of the Jordan because of Jericho. King Balak and Moab knew the Israelites had just alienated the Amorites, and he was desperate to find a way to keep them from attacking his kingdom. Instead of preparing for military conflict, he decided to engage in the spiritual battle. He went for the well-known sorcerer Balaam to travel to Moab and crush Israel. King Balak sent a group of delegates to fetch Balaam, offering a huge reward for his services. Balaam refused until God released him with instruction, do only what I tell you to do. God was angry with Balaam because he was going. Why was God angry, since he had told Balaam to go? The passage is unclear. Only strong possibilities is that Balaam's motive and his actions shifted along the journey. God sent the angel of the Lord to block the way, but only Balaam's donkey could see the angel and the sword he held. Terrified, the donkey ran away. She tried to squeeze past the roadblock. She suddenly lay down under Balaam. Donkeys and horses often bolt or freeze when they're startled. Finally, Balaam was so enraged that he beat the donkey with a staff in an unusual twist. And that's something that I want to point out. God has always got an unusual twist. And I look for him. I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this, because I know it's not going to turn out the way I'm thinking it's going to turn out.
It's always better.
It's always
than we
better.
think it's going to
Yeah.
be, for
Yeah.
me anyway.
It is me
I mean,
too.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got this figured out, but
It's like a mystery story almost. If you like mysteries, just watch what God's going to do. God did not open Balaam's eyes to see the angel, but instead he gave the donkey the ability to speak. You know, that is just amazing. And I would love to have seen the look on his face when that donkey started talking. It would be about like a little cartoon, Shrek or something like that, you know. And humor of the story is impossible to miss. Balaam seemed unfazed when his donkey began speaking to him. So it says here he didn't really pay any attention to it. And I'm like, how? How would you not pay attention? Fools are more stubborn and less sensible than donkeys. They can't recognize the spiritual realities around them. There's no greater foolishness than denying or opposing the one true God. Why do you think God chose to get Balaam's attention in this unusual way?
Seemed like he was hard-headed, stubborn, start with.
Yep. And probably some greed. I put greed, stubborn, his desires for his own, you know, personal growth or reward. Okay, our next section is Balaam's blindness, and it's from Numbers 22:31 through 38. And it says, Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and a sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head, and he fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me, and he turned from me these 3 times, unless had turned from me. Surely now also I had slain thee, and saved her alive. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again. And the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. So Balaam went with the princess of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him in the city of Moab, which is the border of Aram, which is in the utmost coast. And Balak said unto Balaam, Did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore comest thou not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, Lo, I am come unto thee. Have I now any power at all to say anything? The word that God putteth in my mouth, that shall I speak. Over and over, the Bible shows that God often chooses to speak through unexpected messengers, just like the outlaw Moses, the rebel Jonah, and the locust-eating preacher John. But nowhere in the Bible is it more evident than the Numbers 22 through 24, where God chooses to speak through a sorcerer and a donkey. Numbers 22 records how the Israelites moved closer to the Promised Land, entering Moab and camping east of the Jordan River across from Jericho. King Balak of Moab knew the Israelites had just alienated the Amorites, and he was desperate to find a way to keep them from attacking his kingdom. Instead of preparing for military conflict, he decided to engage in spiritual battle. And every day a spiritual battle. If we were really to be able to see whatever's going on around us, and that it's not really this, it's more spiritual, and the things that we're going through, he's got a purpose for them, and he will fight every one of them for us. We just got to let him. He sent for the well-known sorcerer Balaam to travel to Moab and curse Israel. King Balak sent a group of delegates to fetch Balaam, offering a huge reward for his services. I'm sorry. Okay. After abusing and arguing with his donkey, Balaam was about to realize he owed the donkey his life. Finally, God allowed Balaam to see what the donkey had seen all along, the angel of the Lord standing in the roadway with the drawn sword in his hand. Balaam fell to his knees as the angel rebuked for stubbornly resisting me, which implies Balaam had evil motives, not made explicitly clear in the text. It was only because the donkey ran away that the angel did not kill Balaam. Balaam admitted he had sinned and he offered to return home, but the angel sent him on to Moab, telling him again to say only what I tell you to say. Whatever Balaam may have been planning and whatever reason God chose to change Balaam's mind was so dramatically, the results are evident. Balaam did not curse Israel. In fact, he ended up blessing them. God will bring about his plan however he chooses. So I want us to be encouraged today about that whenever we're going through things we don't understand and we wish it would just go away, but we just have to stop and be patient. And I know that's hard to do, especially when you're going through stuff. But you can pray, and as long as you will, in your mind, know that everything's got a reason for happening, and just ask God for peace during those times. He will be able to help us with it, and he will let us know that, this is going to pass. And there's going to be, we've been talking a lot about testimonies. Whenever we go through things and we don't understand, when we do get through it, we're going to have a testimony. We're going to see what God intended, and we'll be able to tell other people and be an encouragement to them that God uses those situations to show himself, just like he did with Balaam and the donkey. What are some ways that we can be blind to what God's doing? What do you think? Do you think we restrict God to what he's able to do? I mean, we do sometimes. We put him, I've heard preachers say it like this before, we put him in a little box and we pull him out when we need something. I pray that God would give us the abilities that every single day we just have such a close relationship with him that it's not keeping him restricted. We call on him when we need stuff, but we should be talking to him about everything every day. As soon as your mind wakes up in the morning, be talking to him about what his plans are for our day.
If you read the scriptures, that'll help you understand as you go, because it'll bring it to your remembrance.
Yes,
A lot of times.
yes. I love it whenever that happens, whenever you're going through just your day. It doesn't have to be anything extra special. Just, and God, he just has a way of letting you see. Well, remember this morning you read that. And I'm like, how does he do that? And that's what I'm talking about, him twisting things around or changing things. He will let you see how big he is. And that's just, it's a blessing. How can we make sure that we're in step with the Spirit and participating in his work in the world? Again, I think spending time in prayer and in his word, reading the Bible, and obeying his quiet nudges. Because, if we go out and we start trying to take care of things on our own, we're going to mess up. But if we'll wait for him and let him kind of, okay, here's Ronnie. Here's your opportunity to do what I said for you to do.
It'd be like David. Every time he went to battle, every time whatever he did, he asked the Lord's wisdom for, what he wanted.
Yeah.
His will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we need to do, is just seek the Lord in everything that we do.
And be in line with the Spirit. I think that's what I keep hearing over and over is be in line with the Spirit. Make sure. That's right. And then we're going to go on to the part 2. It says leading to a crown, searching for lost donkeys. 1 Samuel 9, 1 through 10. And, the devil, he's always going to try to defeat me on stuff. Yesterday, as I was trying to put it together, and a lot of times I'll put it on paper just to try to get me where I need to be. I don't know what in the world happened, but it didn't turn out like it was supposed to. So I was like, I'm just going to do away with that. So y'all bear with me a minute as I flip. Okay. And David said, "Is there yet any that is left out of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?" And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto him, "Art thou Ziba?" And he said, "Thy servant is he." And the king said, "Is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto him?" And Ziba said unto the king, "Am I in the right place, y'all?" No, I'm in 2 Samuel. I'm like, that don't sound familiar. Okay. I see. That's not what I was reading. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. We were talking about, well, we're talking about donkeys today, so let's see. Here we go. Now there was a man, this is it. Now there was a man, Benjamin, whose name was Zorah, and the son Bacharthra, and the son, am I in? Okay. Alpha of Benjani, and mighty man of power. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man, and a goodly. And whenever I read that word goodly, I'm like, what in the world? But that is what it says, goodly. And there was not among the children of Israel any goodlier person than he, for his shoulders and upward in his higher than any of the people. So he was a really tall person. And the asses of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. And Kish said to Saul his son, "Take now one of the servants with thee, and arise, go seek the asses." And he passed through Mount Ephraim, and he passed through the land of Shalisha, but they found them not. Then they passed through the land of Shalem, and they were not. And he passed through the land of the Benjamites, but they found them not. And when they were come to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant that was with him, "Come and let us return, lest my father leave caring for the asses and take thought of us." And he said to him, "Behold, now there is in this city a man of God, and he that is an honorable man. All that is saith come surely to pass. So, now let us go thither, peradventure he can show us our way that we should go." Then said Saul to the servant, "But behold, if we go, what shall we bring the man? For the bread is spent in our vessels, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What have we?" And the servant answered Saul again and said, "Behold, I have here a hand of the fourth part of shekel of silver. That will I give to the man of God to tell us our way. Before time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, thus he spake, Come and let us go to the seer, for he that is now called the prophet was before time called a seer." What's a seer? Do y'all know? A fortune teller. So, then says Saul to the servant, "Well said, come let us go." So they went into the city where the man of God was. Okay. Moving from Numbers 22, wait a minute, to 1 Samuel 9, we fast forward about 350 years. The Israelites were settled in the Promised Land, and the time of the judges is drawing to a close. In 1 Samuel 8, the elders of Israel demanded that Samuel appoint the king. God told Samuel to grant their request. How would this description of Saul help to validate him as God's chosen king? We know Saul was a chosen king of God. How would the deception of Saul help to validate him as God's chosen king? Let's go back right here for a minute. Saul was he was the main character in verses 1 through 2, seeming to set up as a hero. He is from a wealthy, influential family. He's tall and handsome. You know, everything was going good for him. Head and shoulders taller than anyone else in the land. But as the stories continue, the author contrasts our expectations of Saul with the reality of Saul. He is sent on a less than gorgeous mission to find his father's lost donkeys. And although he searches for days, he fails. He's ready to give up and to go home. Not a very heroic ending, but his servant convinces him to try one last idea. They should go to the nearby town, Raymond, to consult a man of God. Maybe the prophet could tell them where to search. Saul argues that he has no money to offer the prophet, but Saul's servant offers to pay the fee. So they set out toward the prophet's house. Likely writing about 80 years after Saul's death, the author of 1 Samuel appears to be building a case that validates Saul's leadership in Israel's monarchy. Although Saul is a contradiction, the quality of his character is shown in the fact that he's serving his father. Saul may have been wealthy, tall, and handsome, but at this time in his life, he was also humble and obedient. Like some of the reluctant leaders who came before him, Moses, Joshua, Barak, Gideon, Saul didn't think too highly of himself. Any successes he achieved as king would be credited to God alone. So the question that I asked was, how would this deception of Saul help to validate him as God's chosen king? And what I think is that he was saying that he's going to trust God regardless of what happened, is the way that I'm seeing this. He didn't think too highly of himself. And I think that's the thing with us. We have to be meek and mild and humble and not get ahead of God, in what we do. And James 4:6, this tells us that but he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, grace resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. And I think here, when I'm reading this and thinking about that, God gives us grace. His grace is sufficient for everything that we're going to be going through. And he wants us to be humble and to listen to what he's telling us to do. If we grow in that grace and we'll just let him do what he does, he's going to see us through, and it's going to bless others. It's going to bless us, but it's going to bless other people as well. I know our bill's we're running out of time, and that's what I was trying to not have happen. I don't know how to make this not happen to me every time. But let's see, let's go, how do I need to close this up? Discovering God's plan. 1 Samuel 9:11 through 20.
just one other thing, seer in these scriptures is the prophet,
The prophet,
not
yeah.
a fortune teller.
Yeah. And as they went up the hill to the city, they found young maidens going out to draw water. And he said unto them, is the seer here? And they answered, he is. And said, he is, behold, he is before you. Make haste now, for he came today to the city. For there was a sacrifice of the people today in the high place. As soon as ye be come into the city, you shall straightway find him, before he go up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat until he come, because he doeth bless the sacrifice, and afterwards they eat that he bidden. Now therefore get up, for about this time you shall find him. And they went up into the city, and when they come to the city, behold, Samuel came out against them, for to go up to a high place. Now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, Tomorrow, about this time, I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, and he may save the people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. And when Samuel saw Saul, and the Lord said unto him, Behold, the man whom I spake to thee of, this same shall reign over my people. Then Saul drew near in the gate and said, Tell me, I pray thee, where the seer's house is. And Samuel answered Saul and said, I am the seer. Go up before me into the high place, for ye shall eat with me today, and tomorrow I will let thee go, and will tell thee all that is in thy heart. And as thine asses that were lost 3 days ago, set not thy mind on them, for they are found. And on whom is all the desire of Israel? Is it not on thee and all thy father's house? Again, we're looking at the fact that God is sovereign. He knows everything. He knows all about us. He knows what we're going through, and he will make a way for us when we see no way, just like he did in this lesson today. And the donkeys were important in this lesson. You know, I think back to Palm Sunday and all the different things that God did use the animals for. He has purpose in everything, and I think we all just have to look and find our purpose, and know that God doesn't make any mistakes. Wherever he puts us, he's got work for us to do. Does anybody have anything you'd like to say? I like donkeys, I like animals, but to me this was a little bit of a hard lesson for me. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, I thank you so much for all your many blessings. I thank you for your love, your mercy, and your grace. And I pray, God, that you would just use each one of us in a very special way. Help us to be what you've called us to be. Show us the way to lead others to know you. In your holy, sweet name.